The collapse inside Real Madrid has a new symbol, and it did not come from a tactical error, a defensive failure, or another painful defeat. It came from a gesture. A single, unexpected moment that exploded across the world. Rodrygo embracing Xabi Alonso immediately after scoring against Manchester City. A hug that looked nothing like celebration and everything like a public statement at a time when the club is sinking into tension, doubt, and internal crisis. Before diving into what this gesture truly exposed, and before revealing the backstage turmoil no one inside the club wants to admit, here is the message that must be delivered clearly. Support the channel, leave your comment, and subscribe. The story unfolding inside Real Madrid is far from ordinary, and the next chapters will bring the full picture behind a crisis that is reaching its breaking point. The moment the final whistle echoed through the Bernabeu, the atmosphere felt unnatural. Real Madrid had just fallen 2-1 to Manchester City, extending a sequence of alarming performances and intensifying pressure on Xabi Alonso. But what captured the attention of millions was not the defeat, nor the tactical questions that followed. It was Rodrygo'S reaction. Despite scoring the only goal of the match, Rodrygo showed no joy, no relief, no personal triumph. Instead, he walked directly to Xabi Alonso and embraced him firmly. It was not spontaneous. It was not emotional overflow. It was a visible, deliberate sign. Later, Rodrygo explained. It is a difficult moment. For us and for him. Things are not working and I wanted to show that we are united with our coach. The statement struck deeply in a club struggling with unity. While Rodrygo admitted he had been performing below expectations recently, he emphasized his effort to recover his form. He also highlighted that the hug was a reaction to what he described as unnecessary attempts to create internal divisions. His message was aimed at stopping the speculation that has been surrounding Xabi Alonso for weeks. He added, "I really needed to score. I always try to help, but I was not at my best. These things happen. I am disappointed by the result, but I hope this goal helps me return to my level." Rodrygo's frustration mirrored Real Madrid's night. The team produced an excellent first half, full of aggression and control. Yet, the performance did not translate into a result. Mistakes in decisive moments once again determined the match. According to the forward, the difference came down to details they had repeatedly trained for. Inside the club, however, the evaluation has been far harsher. With this defeat, Xabi Alonso became the first manager since Santiago Solari to suffer consecutive losses at Real Madrid and face immediate dismissal risk. The previous weekend's defeat to Celta at home had already shaken the foundations. The City match was described by club insiders as the turning point, the one that would determine whether the coach remained in charge. The decision now lies with Florentino Perez, who had privately established this game as a decisive test. Reports suggest that the president views the team's continued lack of discipline, the fragile defensive structure, and growing internal tensions as signs that the project may be failing. The situation within the locker room is far more complex than just poor results. Certain high-profile names have reportedly expressed frustration with Xabi's management style, claiming his approach lacks the necessary adaptability for Madrid's environment. Meanwhile, another portion of the squad stands firmly behind him, arguing that the team is still adapting to his philosophy. After the match, both Rodrygo and Raúl Asensio publicly defended the coach, a move that seemed coordinated, but still insufficient to guarantee stability. Their statements aimed to show unity, but inside the club, disagreements about Xabi's future continue to intensify. As it stands, Xabi Alonso's position is more fragile than ever. The combination of poor results, internal discontent, and a divided squad has placed him in the most precarious moment of his coaching career. Real Madrid now faces a decision that may redefine the rest of its season. Inside Real Madrid's headquarters, the atmosphere following the defeat to Manchester City felt less like the aftermath of a group stage match and more like an emergency meeting held in the final hours of a season collapsing. Reports emerged throughout the night. Phone calls between executives, private conversations between key board members, and internal evaluations of Xabi Alonso's work. The club had reached a boiling point. For weeks, Real Madrid's leadership had insisted that Alonso's project would be given time. Transition demands patience, was the prevailing message. But the defeat to Celta, combined with the performance against City, triggered a shift that had been building quietly behind closed doors. What happened after the final whistle only accelerated discussions that many believed would remain private until the end of the month. According to sources close to the club, the meeting that followed the match centered on three fundamental issues: discipline, adaptation, and authority. The first point concerned the recurring lapses inside the squad, errors that Madrid's directors believe stem not from a lack of ability, but from a lack of structure. Several players have regressed defensively, and the staff attributes part of that decline to insufficient tactical correction. The second issue was adaptation. Certain members of the board feel that Xabi Alonso has been struggling to adjust his methodology to Madrid's environment, which demands instant results, global pressure management, and flexibility. They argue that his tactical approach is too rigid for a squad with strong personalities and high tactical variability. The third point was authority, perhaps the most sensitive. Rumors have circulated for weeks that some stars, including Vinicius Jr. and Jude Bellingham, have become frustrated with the coach's handling of their roles. While they have not requested any drastic action, the tension has contributed to a destabilizing atmosphere inside the locker room. Support for Xabi is no longer unanimous, and the lack of unity is now impossible to ignore. Still, not everyone in the squad opposes him. Rodrygo'S public show of support was genuine, reflecting the opinions of a portion of the team who believe the coach needs time, not punishment. But in a club like Real Madrid, time is the one resource that rarely exists. As discussions intensified, Real Madrid quietly reactivated a list of possible replacements, something they had hoped to avoid. Zinedine Zidane's name resurfaced immediately. Free since 2021, Zidane recently admitted he wanted to return to work soon, but the French national team remains a significant ambition. Madrid is uncertain whether he would accept a mid-season return. Another name mentioned is Jurgen Klopp. His reputation, his experience at handling elite dressing rooms, and his charisma make him an attractive option. However, Madrid's leadership knows that Klopp recently stepped away from coaching to recover from burnout. Convincing him to abandon that break seems complicated. The third alternative is internal: Álvaro Arbeloa. The current Castilla manager has support within the club for his leadership, discipline, and alignment with Real Madrid's current vision for youth development. He is seen as a temporary or transitional option, capable of stabilizing the environment if needed. But all these decisions depend on one key outcome: Madrid's next game. Xabi Alonso's fate may be decided in a matter of hours, depending heavily on performance and result. Despite public support from players and internal promises of evaluation, the reality is simple: the loss to City has pushed the club to the edge. The pressure is now suffocating. Players are aware that any mistake in the next match could lead to a complete restructuring of the coaching staff. Assistants, analysts, and tactical coordinators are equally under review. This is no longer about performance alone, it is about credibility. Xabi himself appears fully aware of the situation. His demeanor